So the first thing we need to do is we need to have a user type in our database. Like right now, the database doesn't really know like this user is a administrator, is a normal user, or some kind of other users. Doesn't really know that. So if we want to use that, we're going to add that. So we can have a role here, or we can call it a user type. It doesn't matter. And the type of this role, it can be a string. And the default of it, when the user registers the account, we're gonna set it to just normal user. So we just set it like a user. And we can something like the widget. We can limit. There's only few kind of options we can use on this field, just to make sure it's safe. So we can have user. We can have like an admin. We can have the I don't know. Let's just keep the admin and the user. It's gonna be enough for this website. So like the user account, the role of it might either be a user or be an administrator. And if we when we're trying to register a new user, if we didn't specify this is an admin or normal user, the default value will be set to default user to the normal user. Okay, that's gonna be the only thing to do in the server, I believe. And in the client side, remember we changed the data the user object in the server. We also want to change the model in the client side. So let's go to the app models and go to the user. Let's add in a role here. Because I don't want to break anything, I can add it like a optional here. It's gonna be a string here. And we can make it optional. The constructor, actually we never used that. Actually you can comment it out if you don't want, and you can also add the role here. We never use this constructor to construct any new user. Okay, and in the let's say, let's first talk about routing here. Yesterday we made the auth guard here. It's going to make sure nobody can access this page before they logged in. Right? Those pages will have a can active function here. Before they log in, they cannot visit all of these pages. The only pages they can go to are register page, login page, and the home page. A home page for this project is a login page. Let's take a look at that service. It's going to be in our service folder in the auth guard service here. So the can active, there's only one line. It returns the user service, the login. It makes sure there is a user currently logged in before we navigate him to there. So take a look of logged in here. The logged in function is in the user service, the client. It is basically checking, trying to sending a request to the server asking, is there user login? Is there user login? And every time it would ask, the server will tell him the response like, yes, there is a user. No, there isn't. It isn't a user logging in. And if this gives a true, if they found a user, then it will tell the routing, okay, you can go to that page. If this gives a false, then there's no user. I'm not going to allow you to go to that page. Instead, I'm going to navigate you back to the login page. Ask you to log in first. Then you can keep doing what you were trying to do. And we're going to do a similar function next to this. It's like admin login. We'll make sure the logged in, there is a login user, and the user who logged in is an administrator. So we can just easily copy this, the whole function of it. And the only thing we need to change is if there is a user and the user role is admin. We have an error here because What's wrong with this? User the role. In the model, I added the role for the user, right? Yeah, I added a role for it. Oh, it should be equal. Yeah, always one equal just set user role to admin. Here it's a boolean checking if the user role is equal to the administrator. If that equals to administrator, that means this user is admin, and then we're going to set the shared service user equal to this user, and it gives a true. Otherwise, we navigate you back to the login. You're not allowed to go there. So in order to use this function, we need to create another service, and in the service we have going to have another active function there. So let's create a new service for that. Let's go to a new file. We can call it admin guard the service.ts. The name doesn't really matter, and let's copy the auth guard here and change it to admin guard. And it also has a active function, but in this function we're not going to use the logged in. We're going to using the admin logged in function, and do the same thing. But there's one more check. We check this logged in user is an administrator. So after this, we need to we'll create a new service. We need to put that into the fmodule.ts file. So it's going to import it from. Let's copy this one. Change this auth guard to admin guard. Admin guard the service. And what I input is admin guard. Yes, it's capitalized. It's just the name of the class. Okay, and we want to put that as one of our providers, so we can import it. Admin guard. Okay. So in the routing here, if there's any page you only want administrator to use it. I'm not sure which page I only want the administrator to use in this project, but if there is any, you can add it here. Like here, if you take a look at like here, the active, it takes it's not a simple just a variable. It's an array here. Active takes an array. There's only one item here checking the authenticated. There's some user login, and if I only want a page, this I can add another one if I want. Okay, in the array there's one. I just want a second one, and I'll using the I need to import this first. App module. I want to import the admin guard to the app routing here. Okay, I import this admin guard here. Yeah, auth guard here, admin guard here. So if I want to add the admin guard here, I can just write it here. And there's going to be, like before we go to this page, the Angular are going to do two checks. They're going to first check there is a user logged in, and then we'll check the logged in user is the administrator. Otherwise, you're not going to be allowed to log into there, to go to this page. So this is how you're going to, you can add as many as you want, but you just make sure it makes sense to in logic. This is how you're going to guarantee that no one can get this page until they matches with what you require to it. So that means admin guard here we're going to require to check this user type is an administrator, and we can check it like if this user type is a is a visitor. If this user type is a normal user, is a buyer, is a seller, we can just using the same thing like to checking the role of the current user. Another thing is, say in the widget list. Remember we have two buttons here, right? Component widget list HTML. Here on the bottom, we have two buttons. One is about like publish and the preview. We want to make sure like maybe we don't want to really always show these two buttons. We only want to show this to the author, or maybe we only want to show the two buttons to the administrator. How can I hide it? The way we hide it is to use an ngIf. So like in this tab, we're going to have a ngIf here. We can say ngIf. We only want to show you when user the role is equal to administrator. Then we want to show this button. If there's any other condition, I want to check or this user is a current login user or something like that. Because our website right now doesn't have that. This application doesn't have those functions we need to care about because there's no others can visit your page before logging in. But maybe I want to block the administrator. And, I don't want the administrator in my company to create their website with this tool. So I can say the user administrator doesn't allow to publish any website. Like anything just you want to hide. Maybe I want to hide this whole table. I just add an ngIf there, saying when the user role is equal to visitor, they cannot say that. The ngIf is going to take a boolean here. Just double equal here. It's going to check if this one is equal to true, then it's going to show it. Otherwise, we're going to hide it. So that's the only thing you need to do to show or hide the stuff. Like maybe you want to have two items, and maybe it's basically does the same stuff, but one of them is saying publish, another one is saying buy. The way you can hear when user role is equal to mean, I want to show publish, and when user's role not equals to admin, I want to show this button. So that we always have only one button showing. Like this is how you keep two versions of your HTML file in the project.
Can you, just a random question,
Could
you have a button inactive but still showing if no one wasn't an admin?
I'm sorry?
No, because you have the same button show to people who are not admins but not be active, so like you can see it but not.
Is there any example like you think you're gonna do that?
Yeah, just because I was thinking about what if you have something on your site that you want people to see so they can want to do it, but they can't unless they join. You know, like.
So like what you mean is they can see the page, but they cannot. I mean, they can see the button, but when they click it, it's not working.
Yeah, they might get a message or it's not active.
Can I add to that? Like in your case, you have a music site. You have music, they can listen to the music, but if you want to see the lyrics, you got to be a paid customer.
Yeah, that's what we need for the, because it's what we need for the to add in the app routing here. Like it's because like if you want to like click the button, it's basically going to navigate to the next page, and you can add in any admin guard to that page. Like if that's not me, I'm not going to allow you to do that. But remember, like you may not always want to navigate the user back to the login page. Right now in the app, in the user service, which is here for the admin login. Like if we said if the user is not an administrator, want to navigate back to the login page, that's going to be not always the case you want. Maybe you don't want to navigate user back. You just want to keep staying in the current page and put an alert there saying your account is not able to do that. Please contact the administrator, or please pay for this, or please something like that. You can just simply just change this, come this rotating back, and do something like please alert your user. Your account is not allowed blah blah blah, and please contact blah, 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 something like that. And it's gonna a lot will show there. Yep. So that's gonna be only thing we want to cover today, and I'll upload the video to the helpful video link.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
So, going to what he was saying, so is that like, if you had user options that you let some users have, but some users not, you can do the same
Yeah.
structure?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Like for example, if you are working on a shopping website, there's definitely different views for the buyer and the seller, right? Like the seller may have when they go to a page, they may have a link like a post a new item, and the user maybe have option buy this item. You definitely want to show different views for different users. If the role of this user is a buyer, I want to show the buy button or like the add to cart button. And if this user is a seller, I want to only show the button to add a new item or add a similar item like this. I'm going to do the different functions there. Instead of doing just completely two different components, we can use one component but hide some functions for different users. And also, we sometimes before the user log in, we don't want to allow them to to pay for the things, or we don't allow them to they won't be able to add in any they cannot basically they cannot create a new website, in this case. And if there's a shopping website, they cannot buy stuff before they log in. They cannot post new stuff before they log in. So they cannot even visit that page before they log in. So we're gonna to using admin login or like a buyer login, a seller login, checking their role matches what they should be to do the following navigate. Okay, that's basically just going to do the same thing as we did yesterday. If they click this button, and we send this service going to send a request to the server, ask, is this user admin? And if the server tells the client, no, he's not, and we just navigate him back to the login page. Login first, and I'll just type a lot here. You are not a buyer. You cannot navigate to that page as a buyer account with a buyer account. You cannot navigate to that page with a seller account, things like that. Because sometimes maybe we hide this button, the user trying to hack that. They instead of just clicking the button, they just try to type something into the URL to match what we have in that page. Yeah. But it's still going to be blocked because the client is going to send a request to the server. Is the user allowed to go there? And if the server says no, and we're going to navigate him back, go back to the login page. You cannot go there. Okay, let's stop the video here. It's nothing really